Hi Scott, how are you?
Good. How are you, Brandon?
I'm good. Can you please make me co-host?
I just did. You're all
Oh,
set.
thank you so much. Thank you so
hmm
much.
Hello.
Should we be downloading? Hi. Should we
Hi.
be downloading anything while we're waiting?
Well, I'm going to be talking about Snapseed. If you're interested in downloading that to your smartphone, feel free to do that. Okay, I'll give it another minute or two for other people to stream in, and then we can get started. Okay. Okay, well, I will go ahead and get us started. There may be a couple of people yet to pop in, but don't want to delay. So welcome everybody. Happy to be here with you on Get Set Up to talk about Snapseed, which is a really helpful app for editing your photos. My name's Scott. I'm here with my colleague Brandon, who is available to help you with any tech issues you might be having. And so feel free to drop a note in the chat for him if you need to. Is there anybody here taking a Get Set Up class for the first time? Anybody brand new? No? Okay. Well, welcome to all the veterans, and hope you enjoy this class. I will be sharing either my iPhone screen or my iPad screen as I walk through this app and some of the things you can do with it. So if you do have it downloaded to your smartphone, you can follow along, or you can just observe and see if you want to even bother downloading it and try it later. So. Okay. So I will go ahead and get us started and give you a little bit of background, and then we'll dive in. So a little bit more about me. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. That is right outside of Washington, D.C. And in addition to leading Get Setup classes, I'm a writer, editor, and photographer. I've been an avid photographer for about 20 years, a little more than that, ever since my wife and I got a camera as a wedding gift. And I really enjoy nature photography, but I do all sorts of photography. I can't seem to specialize in anything. I really enjoy the interactive learning here on Get Setup. So it's been really enjoyable to talk to people about photography and different photo gear and photo apps and things like that. I really love the community building mission. I enjoy seeing familiar faces in my classes and also meeting new people. So it's great to be here. And since most of you are Get Setup veterans, you probably know most of this, but we are here to help you learn new things and from people who are in your peer group and who have learned it as well. We learn from each other. Ideally, everybody will be on camera. If you're comfortable with that, gives us a chance to be a little more social and feel connected. We are recording this class, so if you would like to request a recording, you can email us at help@getsetup.io. Just give us the name of the class and the date that you're interested in, and we'll get that to you. If you're joining by live stream, welcome. Happy to have you following along with us. The best way to participate in class is to join us and register, and then you can ask questions of the guides right away and socialize with the other learners. Get Setup is not paid to promote any specific products, finally. So this is not an official endorsement of Snapseed. It's just one of the apps that we hold classes on, one of the many. So what we'll walk through today is going through just the simple process of importing photos from your smartphone into the Snapseed app to edit them, and using the toolkit to edit and enhance all your pictures any way you want to, and to save and share them, whether you want to share them just over an email with somebody or even post them to social media. If there's anything else that you were really interested in finding out about today regarding this app, please feel free to drop that in the chat, and I will be sure to address that when I stop for some questions. Okay, whoops. So what is Snapseed? It is a mobile photo editing app that has been around for a long time. And it is owned by Google, and it's available for both Apple and Android devices. So no matter what device you're using, you should be able to find it on an app store and download it. It's a very popular app. It was named iPad App of the Year by Apple way back in 2011. So that tells you how long it's been around. And it was named the top 100 best Android apps of 2018 by PC Magazine. So what all does it do? It's a pretty versatile photo editor. So you can use it. It's almost like having Photoshop on your smartphone, and it's free. So that's something that you can't get with Photoshop if you're downloading that to a desktop. But you can adjust brightness and contrast and sharpness and the color intensity and all kinds of things. You can create black and white photos out of what we're taking as color photos. You can add glamour to portraits, can work on getting scars and blemishes off of faces. You can create double exposures and kind of add a vintage or retro look to a photo and a whole lot more. So I am going to open it up. And I'll do that. I'm going to open up my photo or my iPad screen to kind of walk you through this. If I can get my iPad to work. Okay. Okay, we're in business. So what I'm going to do here is pick out a photo from my photo collection and just kind of play around with it and show you some steps you can take. So the app looks like this. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you'll see it right here. It's a little leaf. And when you open that up, it immediately invites you to open a new photo. You can tap anywhere to open a photo. And I can either open this from my device or take a picture and then edit it. So I could use my phone camera or iPad camera, snap a picture and have it open up right here in the app and start playing with it. But I am going to take something from my device and I'm going to import it into this. So why don't we take a landscape or a seascape or bayscape photo, I guess. So it is importing in, and there you have it. This is a little shot at a bay in Maine. And the first thing that shows up here are a bunch of filters or looks, as they call them. If you'll notice down here at the bottom, it says looks. These are essentially different treatments that you can sort of instantly give a photo if you wanted to sort of change it up a little bit, maybe make it pop a little more. These are just quick ways to sort of play with a photo. And it's taking its time here, but or you could go with something like this and it would make it look like it was taken in the morning with a little bit of shine here. And you can even give it a black and white look. Okay. And again, it's taking its time showing up on my screen, but there we go. There. But if I want to do anything more with it, I'm going to want to go into the tools. And that will be right down here in the middle. And when I open this up, and I'm going to turn this to the side so the photo is a little more visible, I've got a variety of options here to play with. And maybe I want to do just some simple tune-up to this photo. So a couple things I can do here. There is an auto adjust button right here. It's a little magic wand. If I put my finger on that, I can just make some simple adjustments in either direction. I can make it brighter and a little more vivid. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not really thrilled with anything it did there. But then I can go into some simple adjustments. And if I click on that, I can increase the contrast or change the ambiance, make it a little bluer. Or maybe bring out some highlights. And I can just play around till I get what I want. And so that is just basic work with the tune image tool right up here. And I can go to details if I want. Whoops, let me go
Quick
back.
question.
Yes.
You have to, after you get done adjusting, do you have to save
Yeah, there should be a little
check mark?
down in the corner. Once you do that, let me do something here and I'll show you. I am adding a little more detail to this so that it's a sharper image. I can then go down here and click on this little check mark and I save it. And if I don't like what I did, I can go to this X and just go back to the beginning. Curves are just something that sort of changes some of the tonal elements of the photo. I don't play around with these a whole lot, but you can experiment with that. And then if you go over to white balance just changes the tone of the photo. I can make it look a little more golden or a little cooler just by moving my finger up and down on the it's hard to tell what I'm doing here, but my finger is right here. And so if we pretend just imagine the arrow is my finger, I'm just sort of moving it up and down to see which direction I want to go. And you'll notice up here, you've got the basic measure of how far I'm going up. Here it's telling you what temperature I've got on my photo. So I'm making it kind of warm. If I went all the way up, it would turn yellow. I don't want to do that, but if you had a photo where maybe that would be an interesting effect, you could do that. Okay. And from there, I can also, if I wanted to, just crop this. So let's say that I want to get rid of some of that scummy water in the foreground. I can go down here and I can just change the dimensions of this photo so that that's not in there anymore. And I've got several options here. I can just do it freehand and control it myself. I would just grab on to these white tabs in the corner and take my finger and move in if I wanted to do that. Or I can go with, if you'll see down here, it says format. And I can just take that and sort of narrow the picture any way I want. And I'm going to try doing it as a 16:9, and I can move the frame up and down until I get what I want out of the picture. And then I click done. And now I have nice smooth water and nothing else in there. So this is where you're going to be doing most of your work. And I'm going to be calling up other pictures and walking through some other things that you can do using some of these others. But those are just some of the basic tools you can use. So let me open up another photo. All right, let's go to a picture of somebody, like a portrait, because we always have pictures of people. And there we go. Okay, wonder if this is going to be, guess it doesn't matter. So let's take this guy. This is just a snapshot of somebody, something any of us could take. And he's got a lot of blemishes on his skin. So maybe he would like to have that kind of cleaned up for this picture. So I'm going to go into tools and I am going to go to heal. And then what I'm gonna do is zoom in and look at some of these blemishes and maybe try to X those out. And I'm not having a whole lot of luck, and I have to be really do this kind of gingerly, because otherwise I start distorting. Some of this hair might be pulled down in here, but I kind of got some of the acne on his forehead out of there. So I'm going to keep that. And then I'm going to go to another option here, which is the portrait. You'll see down here, it says portrait, and I'm going to open that up. And I have the option of smoothing out his skin. Down here, it says smooth 1. So I'm going to open that up and I'm going to go to skin smoothing. And I'm just going to start running my finger across the picture. And I don't know if you can tell, but his skin is smoothing out. And to the point where you can barely see that there were any blemishes there. I'll zoom in on that and you can see. Just does a nice job of smoothing all that out. And, oh, Sarah, I love your dog. And I lost that. I forgot to keep that. So let me do that again. Okay. So I save that. And now I can go in and maybe do something else with this in portraits. There are other options in here. I can try spotlighting his face a little bit. I can maybe try to bring out his eyes a little bit more. That looks a little creepy, so I won't do that, but plenty of options here. And once I'm done with that, I've got a much better picture of this guy. So this will come in really handy if, say, somebody asks you to take their picture and then complains to you that they hate the picture. You can make some adjustments. Any questions so far? You can feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question you'd like to ask about it.
It's interesting. That's probably how they airbrush models and people like that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I've never heard of the app, so it's interesting.
Yeah. And it's really amazing that you can just do it with your finger running across.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Scott, would there be a colorizing tool to go black and white to color?
Whew, I don't think this has that on there, but Ken, there is an app that I have been, in fact, it's interesting you bring that up because I just have proposed a class on this. There is an app, and I can't remember the name of it, but I've seen it advertised on my Facebook feed that actually does colorize black and white photos. So I'm looking for that and trying to create a class just on colorizing your black and white photos. So I would say keep your eyes peeled for that one.
How do you save the photo after you make your changes?
That was the next thing I was going to show you.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yes. So good timing. So when you go to save this, you're going to want to go down to export. And you've got some options here. Number one, you can just save here it's allowing me, because I've got it on an iPhone, it's saying I can save the changes, but the iOS software will ask for permission to modify the photo, which just seems complicated to me. I don't quite know what that means. Or I can just simply save a copy with changes that I can undo at any time in the app. Or if I'm satisfied with this, I can just simply export it and it will save into, if I hit export, it goes right into my photo library. So this will now be in my photos. And you'll notice something else you can do here is share it. Well, a couple things you can do. Number one, if you wanted to do more work on this and you've got another photo app that you like on your phone and you want to play with that, you can go to Open In and bring it up in another app. And I think I just messed that up by clicking on something I didn't mean to, but oh no, okay. Well, on here, I don't have enough apps loaded up here, but if I was doing this on my iPhone, there'd be more options. But I can also just go ahead and share this on my Facebook account, or I can email it to somebody, or drop it into a text message. So that's another option too. So your export is what you get to do. If you click on that, that'll show you what you can do with the final product. Okay. Whoops. So there are also some pretty surreal things you can do here. I'm going to open up another photo. And let's see. Where is my get setup file? There we go. All right.
Can I ask you a question while you're looking?
Sure.
So I have a lot of pictures that I end up having something in the background that I'm not happy with. Is that portrait spot the place to take care of it? Or is there another spot? Like if I wanted to take a piece of the wall and cover a book that's laying there.
Sure.
Is that where you just were, or is that a different
Well,
spot?
I'm going to open up another photo and walk through that to show you. And I will warn you, it is not perfect, but in some cases it doesn't do a bad job. So I got another demo photo set up for that. If I can find, okay, here we go. All right. So a little history with this story, with this photo I'm going to show you. This is my dog Maggie in the backyard, and she just looked very regal sitting there, and I thought I'm going to take this nice picture of her. And then this dog wandered into the picture right as I was shooting it. Well, I could say that the picture was ruined, or I could just simply try to erase him out of the shot. So if I go to tools and I go to heal, I can try, I just used heal before on that portrait to just get rid of some blemishes and things like that. But let's see what happens if I scroll over this. And what I'm doing is just putting my thumb all over this, or my finger. And then I'll hit, well, yeah, there we go. He's gone. So that was him before, and that's him. That's what I did. So that's pretty handy. Sometimes you can really tell that something was removed there. It doesn't do a good job of masking it, but other times it's pretty remarkable what it does. So every now and then that may solve your problem, Sarah.
I tried to do that and it extended my hair.
Yeah. There's a lot of precision that goes into that. And that's why sometimes you may want to really zoom in on what you want to get out of there so that you're not moving your finger overboard. Because what it's essentially doing when you do that is capturing some imagery around the object you're trying to get rid of and replacing the object with that. So when I removed this dog, what it was essentially doing was taking some of this grass around him and covering him up, essentially, or replacing what I was tearing out here with some of this. So
Okay, that makes sense because I was blurring out and there was a piece of hair in the picture. So
Yeah.
that's what made the hair go wild.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm wondering if I can mimic that right now. If I went like this, if say, wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing, what would happen here? Yeah, see, that's it. Yeah. So that's why you have to be kind of precise and yeah. Okay. Good question. Can you use this app on your laptop? This is a mobile only app. I wish to death that it was available for a desktop or laptop, but it is and always has been solely for mobile devices. I don't know if they ever have any plans to try to create a desktop version of it. There are some other desktop apps that you can use for editing photos that are for the most part free as well. You don't always have to rely on Photoshop. In fact, I do teach a class on other photo apps that are more designed for both laptop and mobile. This one is just, I decided to create a class surrounding this one solely because it is really capable. And sometimes it's nice to just be able to make some edits on the go.
Okay, thank you. This is from Jen. I
Yeah.
forgot to put, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. Wish I could deliver better news, Jen, but
It's okay.
all right. So let's take another photo of Maggie. And I'm gonna fix this up a little more nicely than what I captured here. So this photo I took out in the front yard, I think in February when we had a snowstorm. And, you know, it was kind of cool to capture the dog in the snow, but I'm a little disappointed because the lighting wasn't great. And so her face up here where her eyes are a little shadowy. So I'm going to see if I might be able to fix that. And I might just try to do that by going back to looks. And maybe I'll try pop and see if anything happens there. That lightens it up a little bit. It's taken a little while here on the, there we go. That lightens it up a little bit, or if I don't like that, I can go into tools and maybe try drama. Now that's a little extreme. The snow turns blue, but drama is one of the tools on there. And if I do something like this, that really brings out a lot of color in her. And I can adjust this by just scrolling down a little bit. And I just see her face a lot more clearly. And that can look pretty awesome when you're doing certain types of landscapes. So say like a whoops. That was not the one I was going for. Let me get back to it. So if I go to say a shot like this, and I decide to use that drama tool, that can create almost like a painting or something like that. And I can darken it, or so you can really create some artistic looks to your pictures if you want.
Scott,
Yeah.
I've been playing with in the background, and I think I figured something out, that if you want to go to, let's see, a look, you like it, then save it. And then if you take that picture and then you want to do tools, but you can't do a look and then tools without like one then the other, right?
Well, what you would do is save it. So let me save this once and see what happens. So then I could, if I turn it around, I could go back to looks and I could still do some edits here if I wanted, just applying the looks. But you're talking about the other way around?
Well, either way, it would be a two-step process.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. So you can make some adjustments and then come back again and do even more to it if you wanted. Does that answer your question, Ken?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great.
No, I just wanted to make sure you can't, because I was trying, you can't do either way, tools first and then add looks or looks and add.
Right, right.
You have to choose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So get out of that one and a few other things to show you on this. Okay. You also can do a double exposure if you want. So let's take a photo like this and open tools, and it says that I can do a double exposure. So I'm going to add another photo in here. So when I do that, it's going to invite me to open another image that it will overlay here. So I'm going to go back in and pick another photo of this same person. And it adds that in there. I can move this photo around. Do something like this. I'm just putting my thumbs here and expanding the photo, enlarging it within this frame. And I create something like this. Just a nice double exposure. I can hit the transparency and adjust that any way I want. I could make the first photo more of the dominant one. Or I mean the second photo, the one I added later. And it even shows different styles that you can use to lighten or darken it, or do something like this. None of those really work, but something like this might. So that's just kind of a special effect that you can do. Double exposure.
Is the double exposure under the tools?
Yeah. Yeah, let me point that out to you. You go all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, I got it. I found it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't scrolling down all the way. Okay.
Yeah, no sweat. Okay, and I can show you something else that's a little bit creepy, but might as well since we're here, right? I'm gonna open up another photo that is a close-up of somebody. Let's see. Okay. So let's open up a photo. This is a stock art image, but I'm going to open this up. And let's say that I want to adjust his head pose. You can actually do that. So I don't know if you can see here, but I'm trying to do it subtly, but I just open that up and I'm just moving my finger across the photo. I could make him look like he's looking up a little bit more or down a little bit more.
I think you're right. That's creepy.
Yeah.
I just came across an app. It was called My Heritage.
Uh-huh.
You can do the same thing. It's kind of GIFs with very extremo creepy.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, where they're going like this. I'll show you. It's like smiling, blinking, moving the head for about 4 or 5 seconds
Wow.
from a still picture.
What's the name of that one, Ken?
My Heritage.
My Heritage. Okay.
Yeah, they give you a 2-week free trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you must do that too. I do all those 2-week free trials and then don't subscribe.
I'm losing my mind with this because I did darkroom work like, when I was a kid 50 years ago. And like each of these things would take an hour to do for
Yeah.
one picture.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems a little intimidating when you first open it up and you look at all the different tools and everything like that. But when you think about it, compared to what people used to have to do,
Oh my God.
yeah. So, and here's a good example. I'm going to show you something that instantaneously does what Ansel Adams used to do with some of those old black and white photos of mountains, like in Yosemite National Park. But I'm going to open up a landscape here. All right. And all right, let's take a picture like this. Is it opening? There we go. Okay. So if there's anything in this picture that I would want to change, but I don't want to change the whole picture, just a section, I can go to the brush over there in the corner. And this gives me a bunch of options to just brush over with my finger one area that I want to do. Now, dodge and burn is something that Ansel Adams used to do to create those really, really dark shadows and highlights in his black and white photos. So if I wanted to say dodge here, that means I'm lightening it up. So maybe this shadow in here, I want to lighten up a little bit. So right now it's set to dodge, which is +10, which means it's going to lighten it up. And I'm just going to start brushing, if it lets me. Brushing over that, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm running my finger over this and it's brightening up a little bit. Now, if I go to decrease, then I can darken it again. I don't know if you can see that it's probably not real evident, but let me try over here and see if you see that brightening up. Can you see that? So that is something you can do with just a section. Say there's some spot that just wasn't quite what you wanted and you want to lighten it up or darken it a little bit, you can do that very easily using these brushes. And they have brushes for, say, working on the exposure in a certain section, which I don't want to do here, but I could expose this a little bit more, or I could go back and try to change the saturation in one spot, make some section a little more colorful, like that barn. So just little areas that you want to tweak, you can do that. All right. And let me open up one other photo and see if there's anything else that might be cool to show you. Okay. All right, there's one. Oh, okay. So here's an even better example. This photo I took on a trip to Iceland, and here's where that might work out really well. I would really like to have this part of the canyon lit up a little bit more and a little more vibrant. I like the sky, but I want to improve that canyon area. So I will go to brush. And I just want to lighten this up a little bit. And maybe in here too. So I get that water looking a little more vivid, and if maybe I want to add a little bit of shadow in just a section, I could do that to bring that out. I'm down in here doing that. And that's all there is to it.
Did you say you were doing that by rubbing your finger over that
Yeah.
spot?
Yeah. That's pretty much how you do all the edits on here, is just using your finger.
So you know how when you do the healing part and you do your finger, is there a way to adjust the size of what it's whitening out or fixing? Like the brush size, I guess, I mean?
Well, actually, no, it pretty much reads the size of your finger. So the best thing to do is just zoom in as close as you can to the part that you want to get out.
Okay.
And that way it's only going to capture what's immediately around there, because your screen's not showing everything else. So here's an example. If I wanted to get rid of this little area right here, let me go to heal. Okay, yeah, so I want to zoom in on this, and I want to get as close as possible so that when I am rubbing over it, I'm not capturing a lot of, I can be more precise with my finger just because I've got more access to the one object and not things around it. So let's see what happens here when I do that. Yeah.
I wonder if a stylus would be smaller.
Yeah, can you use, I've got a question about that. Can you use styluses on iPads or iPhones? I've never tried that. I know that some Android devices come with them, but
I think yes.
okay. Okay. I may look into that then. This is what I love about Get Set Up. I learn something new every time I teach a class. So, okay. So a lot more here. There are noir looks, I guess you could give it, or noir filters. Not that this picture is necessarily conducive to that, and retro looks. So I could go to retro lux and do something like this, make it look like it was taken years ago, decades ago. So a lot of options there. Oops, okay.
Hello, Scott.
Yes.
Once you've altered the picture, does it automatically save the save it, or do you have to save the picture yourself once you've adjusted it?
Yeah, once you've adjusted it, you will want to go down to export.
Right.
And when you click on export, you just want to save a copy. And that way,
right.
if you want to come back and edit it later, you can, or you can just go to export.
Right.
Down at the bottom, and that will keep it with the permanent changes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I've jabbered on a lot. Are there questions, other questions I can answer? No?
No, but now I know why my niece always looks so beautiful on her Snapchats that she posts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's amazing. There are a lot of apps out there that do those things to faces. I've been amazed by those. I found an app that aged me by like 30 years. So I got a glimpse of what I'm going to look like when I'm like 90.
Oh, Lord.
I
Yeah,
want to see that.
yeah. That's pretty bizarre. Yeah. And also it reversed my age to like a teenager. And that might have been on Snapchat. I can't remember. And it looked nothing like me.
I want to see what Ken's trying to show.
Yeah, I was going to show you this example of this. This is my father taken 75 years ago.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Ah.
That is unbelievable. That is a little bit creepy. But
I can't decide whether it's nice, wonderful, awful. It's everything.
yeah. Wow. Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
Scott, I've got a couple questions.
Yeah, Jen.
Is there a free app that you can use on your laptop other than Photoshop?
So I'll mention a couple, and Jen, you might want to take my Magic of Photo Apps class 2 that talks about a lot of these other ones, and I'll touch on some of these. One of them is called Photor, F-O-T-O-R,
Okay.
and I like that one. I sometimes use that instead of Photoshop. I do have a subscription to Photoshop, so I pay $10 a month for that, but sometimes I like Photor because I can just do things a little more quickly. It's a nice app, and it is free. They do have a pro version that has an annual subscription, but you can do plenty on it for free.
Okay. And my second question was, I said when I retired, which I did in October, I've always wanted to take a photography class because I'm really interested in that and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how I would even go about finding someone that gave classes? I'm in the Dallas area, so I'm not sure you would even, like maybe a community college or any other advice on places I could look.
Yeah, community college is really good. There may also be some photo clubs or I'll just give you an example of one. There's one here in the DC area called Washington Photo Safari, and they do workshops, and they're for all levels of ability. And when I first started taking up photography, 20 years ago, I took a couple of their classes and learned a lot. I learned that whole thing about Ansel Adams with the dodging and birding in one of those classes.
I'd be a beginner, definitely.
Yeah. And so that would be something to maybe look around and see, maybe just doing a Google search in the Dallas area for some kind of photo club or something like that. But yeah, community colleges usually have photography courses.
Okay, great.
And there are a lot online too. So if you just went to YouTube or this is a little bit on the pricey side, but on LinkedIn, if you become a premium member on LinkedIn, you have access to a plethora of courses.
Okay.
On just about anything. And I've actually taken a few photography courses on there.
What would be a good camera for a beginner like to get?
So I started out with a Canon Rebel, and I don't know what version of the Rebel that is around now, but it has manual settings, but it also has auto settings. So you could start out just using the auto settings just to get acquainted with it. And then as you take classes, you'll be able to learn a lot more about those manual settings on setting your shutter speed and things like that for different types of effects. And yeah, so.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. Other questions? Whoops, I just lost my. No? Okay. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, thank you. Great class.
Yeah, I
Very
hope,
fun.
I hope I
Very interesting.
got you interested in maybe playing around with it. I'm just gonna give you, whoops, I keep going backwards here, just some key takeaways, and then I'll wrap things up here. So you can just master the basics of Snapseed using the tune image and the details, curve, and white balance in the tools menu. Experiment with looks. Sometimes that's a quick way to make a really nice, quick change to a photo. And just play with those different tool options like portrait, HDR, scape, tonal contrast, drama. Those are all there. And again, just remember to use export to save editable or permanent copies of your work. And then you can also use that to open and edit it in another photo app or share it via email, text, or on social media. And just to give you a heads up, thank you, Cheryl Ann and Jen. Just to give you a heads up on some other classes that are coming up, we have a class on Introduction to Pinterest. That's a place you can share photos that you've done. One on Zoom virtual backgrounds for beginners. And since we were talking about changing faces, there is a class on how to look like a superstar on Zoom. So if you wanted to sort of beef up your appearance on Zoom, that might be something to take. I actually could use a few pointers on that one. My next classes, I have one tomorrow on Google Photos, which is Google's app that allows you to back up your photos in the cloud, so to speak, so that you don't lose them in the event that you lose your phone or it's stolen or something like that. At least you know that your photos are copied elsewhere. And then the second class I have tomorrow is on photo composition, and it just walks through just some basics in composing a really nice photo. If you are interested in sharing your experience about this class, or you end up creating something really cool with Snapseed and you want to share it with us, we'd love to hear about it. You can either share that on your own social media feeds with a hashtag for Get Set Up if you're so inclined, or you can share it with Liz on our marketing team. She is always looking for people to showcase, people in our learner community to showcase, showing what they've learned and what kind of fun or success they've had with it. So I'll be sending you some class notes with some takeaways, and you'll also get to view the schedule by clicking here. And you'll also have a link to our feedback form, which defaults here on the rating system to 4 stars, which you can raise or lower depending on your sentiments about the class. Whatever you're feeling, we'd love to know what you thought about the class, what you liked or didn't like about it, what you think might make it better. And lastly, down here, if you have some interest in other classes, some other things you'd like to learn that you don't see being offered in our class schedule, by all means, drop a suggestion in here and let us know, because we are always looking to expand our course selection, and we want to deliver what learners are wanting. So we'd love to hear from you on that count. And please spread the word about learning with Get Set Up. We'd love to expand our reach and help more people. I'll also show you on the Get Set Up website, we now have a feature that allows you to alert a friend when you sign up for a class in case you want to have them join you. So say a class like this, I can go, and when I sign up for it, I can then go click here. I can share it on Facebook or WhatsApp, or just send it in an email. So another way to get more people interested. If you would like to host an interest group on Get Set Up, we would be happy to facilitate that for you. If you've got a hobby that you'd like to have conversations with other people about, or some topic that you're interested in, just let us know. You can do that by just emailing us at help@getsetup.io. You can also use that email address to suggest a class. You don't have to just rely on the feedback form. And you can request a recording of the session by also using that email address. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really enjoyed being with you. This was a fun class. So, and this was also the world premiere of this class. So I'm glad you could join me for it. So,
Thanks, Scott. This was really great.
okay, thanks very much. And I hope to see you all again soon. Jen, I will see you tomorrow, it sounds like. So,
Thank you, Scott.
okay. Everybody have a good night.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
righty. Bye-bye.